This is indeed a special day as we have gathered here to celebrate the women entrepreneurs in India. The theme for this year's International Women's Day is Choose to Challenge, and Women in Development Network initiative made a consistent effort to plan and conduct interviews with women to hear how they have embraced the entrepreneurial challenge, either through the successful development of a business or ways in which they are working towards that goal. The interviews into a short film, which will be submitted to the global IWD website to contribute to their video gallery. This is an occasion to celebrate the wonderfulness of women. We have been honored to have been graced with the illustrious presence of Professor Karen Ross from Newcastle University. She is the Professor of Gender and Media, the first such named chair in the UK. She joined Newcastle in 2016 from her previous position at Northumbria University and has previously held positions at the Universities of Liverpool, Coventry, Gloucestershire, and Birmingham. We also have the respected Professor Geeta Bamzai, former professor and head of Decode, former professor and head of research at IIMC. With this, I would first like to call Professor Karen Ross to speak a few words for us.
Thank you, Apame. I have spoken my few words, so move on.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I would also now like to request Geeta ma'am to grace the occasion with the words.
Hello, I think it's a great opportunity, and for me, especially coming back to IMC through this platform is really interesting. And I'm very glad that this interaction between young women entrepreneurs and budding journalists is taking place today in IMC. And I like to actually allude to some of the issues that Karen talked about, but basically talking about women's work in India, which perhaps is probably uniform across the developing countries as such. So women in India largely work in the informal sector. They do in large numbers, and they are ignored by the policies and laws, which hamper their efforts to monetize their work exponentially and sustain their businesses, which is actually the hiatus that we see between their work and the kind of sustained advocacy which is required from different organizations and policies and laws and rules. To offset this drawback, we have seen in recent times that technology does offer many opportunities in terms of expansion of market. So more wider market is available through new technologies and the network of
Sorry, Geeta. Can everyone just mute themselves so we can still hear Geeta? Arsha, you're unmuted, so you've taken over from Geeta. And Arshita, can everyone turn their mics off while we're listening to Geeta Bamzai?
Okay, thank you so much. So technology is offering a lot of opportunities because of innovations in artificial intelligence and all kind of disruptions being made in the technology. But we can't ignore that gender barriers and disparities exist, which tend to weaken women's efforts to break free from stereotyped framing of their work and their abilities. So we are no longer just engaged in, women are no longer engaged in just bottling jams and pickles alone. We have many young and old women entrepreneurs who are taking up such work which defies gender boundaries. And we have a lot of women actually experimenting with the new models of doing business and making them work. And I'm actually at a place, I just came across that, a young woman getting into tourism industry and doing it in a very different way, using mud huts in a very different architectural, innovative ways of building huts. And these It's called Gili Mitti. And she does it an online, skill capacity building also, and it's actually boosting tourism. So I hope what we are going to learn from our young women entrepreneurs today would really excite many more younger women to enter the business world and not really be overwhelmed by the kind of more men being there rather than women. So it will be a good opportunity to learn from, I think, the kind of challenges that these three women will be talking about through their stories. And lastly, I would say, I think we need to have a different model of journalism, because I think these stories don't really make it to the mainstream media because we think there's no story. But I think we have to find that peg which will tell such, multiple kind of new ways of doing things and excite more younger people. So I'll just put a stop to my 3 minutes are over, but I'm very happy to be here and would be so glad to learn from the interaction between all young people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for those inspiring words. I now have Professor Surbi Daya, ma'am. We've been honored. She's the course director of journalism at IIMC. She has been the Susi Scholar from India in 2017 and has been certified from the US State Department. She studied and visited various US media institutes and media houses like CNN, National Geographic, etc. She has presented numerous papers on an international level and participated in the AEJMC conference at Chicago in 2017. Surbi ma'am, I would like you to speak a few words for us.
So thank you, Aparna. Good afternoon to all my dear students, colleagues, faculty, and the prestigious panel of entrepreneurs, women who have grown, leaps and bounds in their own respective fields and sectors. Amrai, Preeta, and Shabia have revitalized the meaning of entrepreneurship with their bold and stalwartly skills. So in this seminar, Amrai, Preeta, and Shabia will talk about their experiences and how they broke through the shackles of male, dominated society to create their own personal brands that are not only successful but sustainable as well. Amrai is an art educator, a prodigy who believes in healing, inspiring, and invoking hope in people through creative art. And Preeta is a staunch supporter of social development and sustainability. And, she has a brand and she's indeed a pillar of artistry for us. Shabia has worked for 25 years, a best-selling author, and the founder of Wild Earth, a natural skincare line. She has won some most prestigious awards. So I would like to extend my gratitude to Professor Karen Ross from the University of Newcastle and Global Challenges Academy and Women in Development Network Initiative for allowing us and honoring us to collaborate and organize this seminar with you. And I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Professor Geeta Bamzai, who has graced this seminar with her presence and experiential learning. I hope you, my dear students, enjoy and learn and make the best use of this seminar to understand and listen to such beautiful women entrepreneurs and have a great learning experience indeed. So over to you, Aparna.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your words. So without much ado, we must start the seminar. The lineup of the speakers would be Preeta ma'am, and then Shabia ma'am, and then Amrit.
Is it just me or has Aparna frozen?
Yes, I think she has her screen has frozen, so there is some network error.
In which case,
right.
Preeta,
So,
Shabia.
all right. I think the first speaker is Preeta.
Yes, ma'am, I'm introducing.
Hi, Preeta. So, Preeta graduated from the University of Delhi with a master's degree in social work and has a decade of experience working in the social development sector, focusing on menstrual and reproductive health. Her grassroots experiences led her to found the brand We're Equal, which has the mission to reduce inequalities in assessing sanitary products for women in India. And We're Equal is a socially and environmentally conscious, intimate wear brands, which carries the message of intersectional feminism. It proposes what would otherwise be waste material from textile manufacturing and thus reduce landfill. So I request you to please speak for around 8 minutes, and then my students are going to ask you some questions. Over to you, Preeta.
Thank you so much for introducing me, Surbhi, and thank you so much, Karen, Priyanshi, and the team for having me over to speak about my journey. This is indeed a great opportunity for us to share our lives. I would just be sharing my screen for now, and let me just take a few minutes to share my screen. Mm. Just a moment. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, we can see the screen. Yep, there you are.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. Let me just somewhere here and I will start. All right. Yes. It's about the entrepreneurial women in the uncertain world. I loved the topic of today's seminar. Definitely the two match somehow, especially in today's times where, the pandemic is going on, and there are also issues of climate change. There are issues of, in the emerging economies, there are different kinds of issues. So I think the topic of today's seminar is really very interesting to me. I will be talking a little bit about myself. So about me, I am the founder of We're Equal. We're Equal, as you have heard in my introduction, it's a brand of underwear. I'll be talking about that in the next slide. But a little bit about me. I have a master's in social work from the University of Delhi. I have worked for a decade in the social development sector. I have worked on projects specifically in the grassroots of India, in the fields. I have worked with the UN on a number of UN projects. And I have also worked with Ernst& Young as a social auditor for UN projects. So I've been auditing a lot of these programs on ground, and assessing whether the beneficiaries of programs, they are getting what they're supposed to get, and what are the gaps, what are the barriers. So I've been doing a lot of technical stuff through my life, which kind of paved the way for where I am today. I'm also a trained dancer. I have taken a certificate course in studies, and in my free time, I different NGOs in Kolkata, and I teach dance movement therapy to children. I'm also a very, very new mother. I gave birth to my daughter in December of 2020. She's 6 months old now. And yes, so I'm also a working mom. And I also belong to the autoimmune community. If anybody knows what autoimmune is, it's a kind of medical term for people who have certain kind of diseases which are related to autoimmune disorders. So that's about me. Now a little bit about my brand. So we're equal, which a lot of women, a lot of people, they read it as we are equal, and I love the fact that it sounds like that. We're Equal is basically a women's underwear brand. It was something that I kind of by chance started, thinking about probably, a few years ago when I was still on the field, in my job, where I saw that there is a gap when it comes to menstrual health products for women in rural India or women who are staying in remote parts of India. So our brand is basically a socially and environmentally conscious brand. How? Um, First of all, we upcycle industrial textile waste. So basically, whatever scraps or surplus textiles which come out from the post-production, wastage, like large-scale productions which the export houses do for international brands, we take the post-production waste and we upcycle those textile materials and we make our underwears. We mostly make organic products because we believe that if you're making something, better make it sustainable, because we have a long, long future to go. And we also give back through our hybrid model. So what our model does is that our commercial brand, when it sells and whatever sales proceeds we get, whatever profits we make, we channelize part of those profits to give back to, say, to the community or of women in rural India who may not have access to something which is as simple as an underwear. So we are partnered with a couple of NGOs who help us in distributing these low cost, subsidized underwears in the rural parts of the country. Our brand is based on the principles of intersectional feminism, which basically means that we feel that if there is a basic need in the society, say for a woman who comes from any background, any class, any caste, any creed, underwear is something which is commonly wanted by every woman, right? Because it helps you to stay hygienic, and it also helps you to carry out a safe menstruation because you can then wear pads, right? So that's why we believe that we want to make underwears for women from different walks of life. And we are also a very inclusive brand, not just about, it's not just about sizes or body types, but we are also inclusive about which condition you're in. Like, for example, we make underwear for, prepartum and postpartum women as well. Currently, we are doing a very exciting project of, making a underwear model for, it's called an adaptive underwear. Basically, it's for women who are wheelchaired or women who have mobility issues. So yes, so we are inclusive in all the sense that it can be. So a lot about my brand. Now, little bit about the journey. So, entrepreneurial women, who are we? I mean, what is so different about us that we are delivering this seminar today? What is so different about entrepreneurial women? What is so different about women entrepreneurs? And what you can say is, what is so common between all these women entrepreneurs that are out there in the world? To think of it, how I put it would be, um, so we are women with experiences. you know we all have had our shares of experiences. For me, I had a long time, in the field. I was communicating, I was talking about different aspects of, you know, the rural women in their lives, in their daily lives, what were their issues, what were their health problems, what were the myths and taboos surrounding different aspects of their life. So that was my set of experiences. There might be somebody who has some other set of experiences. somebody who is very skilled at maybe making something from their hands. So they've had their whole life, they've had the experience of making that, right? So that is also an experience. So for me, these were my experiences. Uh, we're also women with constraints. So I did have a very good time, talking in the social development sector. I did a lot of technical work. When I thought that, okay, now let me do something, let me get out of my job and let me just, do something for these women whom I think there is a problem in the community, and this is something that I can and I want to solve. I felt that I had a huge constraint in terms of my education, because I was not exposed to the world of business at all. I had no idea how to run a business, how to register an organization, what to do, whom to hire. I mean, I had no clue. So I thought that was my constraint. So I had no exposure, I had no education. I was brought up in a very, very service oriented background where business was the other side of the world altogether. Also, lack of capital, I had some medical issues. So, these were my set of constraints. Um, no matter what constraints you have, you may also have resources, and it's not may, you will definitely have your resources. And so that's what happened with me. I left my job and I decided to do something, and I got married, and I shifted cities, and then I was introduced to the world of textiles, because the family I got married into, they have a garment manufacturing business. So I thought that, okay, let me go and take a look and see, how things work. And so I was introduced to this whole world of sustainable textiles and sustainable materials, to organic, fair trade. And this was very, very new to me, but somehow it was linked with my past. And so I decided to use what was left over, the scraps inside the factory, to start my own business. So I was looking for resources, and I kind of found it, and I realized that if I really, really brainstorm, I would feel that, yeah, I can do a lot of things that maybe even with my lack of education in business, I can still learn on the job. I can observe, and I can speak with people, talk to people, be a little hands on. So I started counting my resources. Okay, I should do this is something that I'm good at, this is something that I should do. So yeah, we are women with experiences, constraints, and resources. That's how I put it. uh, so after this, I would just say that we're women simply with aspirations. Now, what do we really want? I mean, I understand that, we want to do something because we are highly motivated to do it, right? But then what is it that we really want to achieve by becoming entrepreneurs? I think the biggest motivation is to step out of the shadow, you know, to be your own boss. Isn't that a wonderful feeling to, just say bye bye to patronizing, like I said, not be told to do something, but know that you can kind of, you can listen to your inner instincts, and you can be, a success just by listening to your own self. So isn't that's a very, very deep motivation that most of the women entrepreneurs carry within themselves, that they want to step out from the shadow. The other thing is financial independence. You want to stand on your own feet, right? You want to sign that paycheck for others. You want others to also depend on you for once, right? You want to pay the bills, right? So you want to take ownership of your own things. You want to not be the princess for once. So yes, financial independence is another thing that we dearly, dearly want. And the third thing would be that you also want to pull others out of the shadow, which basically has a very humanitarian aspect to it. You, with your experiences, maybe personal or professional, have somehow felt that, some people need your help, and maybe your brain or your resources or the work that you do, your skills can help others, and that's what you want to do. So this is what women entrepreneurs would want. Now, the key is you need to work really hard. This is something that I would just tell. This is something that any entrepreneur would tell anybody. You have to work doubly hard when you have only yourself to listen to, and you have to be very, very brave to take that step out, to step out from the zone of dependency and get into an independent mode of things. So work hard and be brave is my punchline. How you want to achieve what you want to achieve is also very, very, I think it's something really very subjective, but uh, here are the things that helped me achieve what I have done today. So I wanted to take my own decisions. So you have to, get into the administration of things. You have to go ahead, register the organization, do the paperwork, you have to delegate. You also have to learn about the technicalities of the work that you do. I mean, trust me, I had no idea how an underwear is made, what material it is made of, what is the kind of stitch, what are the kind of machines that are used. But now everything is on my fingertips. It's because I have literally done it hands-on. So that's something that I did. And it also gives you the decision-making power in things when you are very clear about the knowledge base of things that you're getting into. The second thing is, even if you feel that you're alone in the world as an entrepreneur, you're not, because there are others who were in your shoes before and who are also fighting the different, the shackles that they say that women are into, right? So for me, I found support through organizations. Two of these organizations, one is the She Trades, ITC She Trades organization, which is located in Geneva. I am a member of She Trades, and they are a global network of women entrepreneurs, and they come up with these amazing webinars and export hubs, and they also come up with fairs where you can pitch your product. So this is so you yes. Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can, but can everyone else on the call just mic yourself? Also, just to say, Preeta, that you're running out of time.
Yes, I will be wrapping up in 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, this is how I found it. In India, there was an organization called Catholic for Women Entrepreneurs.
Sorry, Preeta, can everyone please mic yourself? Just make sure that your mic is off. Thank you.
Okay, should I continue?
Yes, thanks, Preeta.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, found support. Also, keep learning. Like I said, I felt that my constraint of having a lack of education in the business background, in the study of business and background of doing something of my own, that's something that I kind of build my capacity in. And therefore, I joined a couple of programs. I did a mentorship program with IIM Bangalore, which helped me, bring up my initial hybrid model for my brand. I also attended the Access to Finance program by India SME Forum, and I'm studying right now also. I'm part of a seed program by Stanford Graduate School of Business. So, I have not stopped learning. I am taking out time to learn because I know that doing business is not a cakewalk. So there are different aspects of things that we need to understand so that we can do them independently, right? And yeah, be fierce in the face of challenges. There are going to be a lot of challenges. There are going to be a lot of risks. You have, as an entrepreneur, you have to take risks. It doesn't matter whether you're a woman entrepreneur or just an entrepreneur, but you have to take risks as an entrepreneur. So you have to be fierce and you have to be brave to be able to face that. Don't let family draw you back. Sometimes it's very difficult to balance the personal and the professional space, especially as a woman entrepreneur, because there are all these, labels and all these expectations from you to do this. Being the mother of a 6-month-old, I can tell you that, sometimes you might even feel guilty that why are you doing this work? Instead of that, you could have been spending time with your child. But don't let that feeling draw you back, because whatever success you have, you will be the role model for the child, won't you? So I will be just wrapping up in another, yeah. So here are a few more photographs just to show that how I motivate myself. you know Keep yourself motivated, most important. Your motivations can be anything. Like I said, it can be profit, it can be meeting different kinds of people, getting into joint ventures. I love doing that. I love meeting other women entrepreneurs and talking about our journeys together, going for a cup of tea. Don't underrate yourself. Sometimes you might feel, I don't think the things that I make are worth of that much value. Don't do that. Don't undervalue yourself. I started out like that. I thought that, maybe we won't make it big, maybe we'll just be a small brand. But today we are doing very good business, and that's thanks to just the self-confidence I must say that I had. And yes, you have to multitask, you have to have 10 hands. So that's something that I think I said in the last slide as well. Concluding thoughts. I don't like the word women entrepreneurs actually. Why can't it just be entrepreneurs? I know there is something, definitely some subjectivity to it, that we have our different shares and sets of, constraints and issues and everything. But the day we are just entrepreneurs, I think we would have made it. So thank you. I hope you liked whatever I told you about my life, my journey. And for any questions or any requests or anything I can help you with, you can reach out to me on this email ID. I'll
Thank you
stop
so much,
sharing.
ma'am.
Yeah, if there are any questions anybody wants to ask.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving an insight to your beautiful journey. This is Simran Shrivastava here, representing the English Journalism Department here, and I'm very grateful to you, ma'am. Yes, there are certain questions which are asked by the students here. How are you planning to make Wear equal reach to the remote part of the country? So as you said, the brand is really great, and you have looked forward for women hygiene and including menstruation as well. So how are you planning to make Wear equal reach to remote parts of the country?
Preeta, before you answer that, can I just ask, because we are already 40 minutes into the seminar and we've got 2 more speakers, can I just ask for that we actually listen to the 2 speakers next, and then we just take questions at the end, if everyone is willing to stay for a little bit longer? Is that okay with everyone? Is that okay with you, Preeta?
Absolutely okay with me. Yes.
Okay, so whoever is going to introduce our next speaker, the next speaker is Shabia. So whoever's going to now introduce Shabia, could you now do that? Thank you very much. And you're on wait time, Shabia.
If it's okay, can I just give a small introduction for Shabia ma'am, and then Shabia ma'am can resume. So we're all aware of the overwhelming impact of the pandemic on the entire world. And along with multiple societal challenges, the economic instability that the pandemic induced added additional barriers in the way of women entrepreneurs. But as the famous poet Robert Frost said, The best way out is always through. We have with us today an inspiring individual who made it through all the problems and stands proud as a successful businesswoman. Shabia Walia is the founder and owner of Wild Earth, an innovative brand producing handmade and chemical-free body products. She's a celebrated media personality with more than 25 years of experience in the industry. She's the author of Mama Mania, a best-selling novel that provides a unique narrative of a first-time mother. In addition, she has written and co-produced a critically acclaimed and award-winning film, Badnaam Gali, and co-created a show on Sub TV called Katilal and Sons. Shabia Walia is also an ardent social worker. She started a community called the Bluebells to help people in distress, and Idea to Income, a platform that supports budding entrepreneurs. Ma'am, I welcome you to the panel on behalf of the English Journalism Department. It is an immense pleasure to hear you speak your mind, and we're all very excited. So without further ado, I would request you to take over. Shabia, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Preeta, my co-panelists. And thank you, Priyanshi, for introducing me to this wonderful platform. And thank you so much to Amara, one of my co-speakers. Lovely to meet you here. And without wasting any more time, since we are rushed, I will get into my journey. So my journey into entrepreneurship and breaking patriarchy started when I was 21 days old. 21 days, okay? So when I was 21 days old, I was declared as someone who will die. And if I live, I would go mad. I would go insane, because I had brain fever, and my doctor told my mother and father that she will not survive. And if she survives, she will go mad. And I think I survived and I went mad. And I know Preeta has given us a very sensible outlook to what is common among entrepreneurs. But I think what is common among entrepreneurs that somewhere we are eccentric, we are mad, we want to prove a point, we want to leave our cushy jobs, our six-figure incomes, and just say, hey, this is the legacy I want to make, this is the brand I want to make. So I think in that sense, without really being derogatory about that word, I feel that we have this mad streak in us which makes us want to give up all the comforts. And so my life and my entrepreneurship journey started quite early in life. And I, of course, at that time, I did not understand what entrepreneurship is, what patriarchy is. But at 9, when my father walked out on us, leaving behind 2 young kids, me and my younger brother with my mom, I remember my mom crying and saying, how are we going to manage everything? And I said, as a 9-year-old, I don't know how I said it, but I said, I am your husband from today. He was 1, we are 3, we will work together and we will survive. And my mother was shocked and she looked at me, and I think I almost, she lived 67 years, and I think I've been her husband for almost, you can minus 9 out of that. And we made a good life. And I remember my mother never playing victim. And she says, you know what, it's okay to be born poor, but if you die poor, it's your problem and not the world's. And being a writer, I always say this, that, you can choose to write yourself as a victim, but you can also choose to write yourself as a hero in the film. And that's how I wanted to rewrite my life. And from there, we 3 of us, we started, teaching kids. We used to teach up to 100 kids in a day at home, and we survived. And I paid for my own education. And I think what's got me through life and is the whole thing of this one phrase which I follow, and that's why not. So when Priyanshi asked me, would you like to be a part of this? And I said, why not? When my dad went away and my mother said, are you willing to work very hard? And I said, why not? And she said, can you supplement our income by making some cakes? Because I used to bake as a 9-year-old. And I said, why not? And I remember selling those cake slices for 1 rupee each. And by the end of the day, we used to make 15-20 rupees, which was a big thing at that time. And then when I joined, I was teaching. I actually became a teacher like my mother. And I remember teaching, and I was a student, and my principal heard me speak in one of the things. And he came and said, would you like to teach our students? And I was like, without even thinking that I am only, probably 18 years old at that time. I was like, yeah, why not? Let's do it. So I have been this enthusiastic person who's always kind of been very ready to do everything that life throws at me without getting into, oh, why me? Why this at this time? Doesn't suit me. And that's how even entrepreneurship happened. So after 23 years, when I got fed up of the media, And I was fed up of the stress and the number of hours, and I had a child, and I was like, when am I going to spend time with her? And I said, rather than crib that media is not giving me time and I am so stressed, why not change the environment I work in? I mean, I have the power. I have changed my life, ever since I was a child. So I decided to give it all up, and I walked into my bathroom and for a bath and made this amazing scrub, which then reached my school, my daughter's school moms, and they tried it. And I came back home on the first day with, I remember 4,000 rupees. And the other mom said, oh, we also want your scrub. And the next day I came back with 8,000 rupees. And my husband said, oh, this is a business. And I said, yeah. And he said, so how do we go about it? I said, nothing. We announce it on Facebook tomorrow and the business is there. And that night we thought about the name. And so being a writer helps, right? You can come up with 150 names in like 5 minutes. And my lawyer was like, you have to pay for all these names. You're making me search. Okay, so don't go so fast. Usually people give us 3 names in 1 week. You're giving us 150 names in like 5 minutes. I'm going crazy. And the brand started. And I remember we used to put this wonderful pictures of our products on Facebook, and my husband used to get these orders by the end of the day, and we used to drive down and give it to our customers. And that's how, and the mothers just kept bombarding us that, okay, now let's have some body butters, okay, now let's have some lip balms, or now let's have some soaps, oh, my daughter loves this orange fragrance, so let's make an orange soap. And believe me, it was all done in my microwave oven and my mixer grinder. And soon my maids threatened me that we will leave you because all the kitchen utensils were full of soap and lather and instead of rice and food. And eventually I got into an office, I got into a workshop. This was in 2016. By 2017, we had a turnover of 1.25 crores. We had reached 3 countries outside India. The brand was being acclaimed. Bombay Times gave it the Times She Unlimited Award. We won several awards. But more than all these awards, I think what has really kept me upbeat, even during the pandemic when a lot of businesses were struggling and we were also told to shut it down, I was like, no, I'm going to go back to media, earn some money there and keep my business afloat. I'm not giving up on my legacy so soon. So I started writing, and that writing led to a film being made and a show being made on television. And I promised myself one day that, I have the power of the pen, and whenever I lift it up, I will only use it to push patriarchy. I will only use it to push the agenda of women. So none of my films, none of my work, which you will see ever on media, and this is a promise I've made to myself and I also make on this platform, will ever show women in a regressive light. I mean, Badnaam Gali was all about a young woman who was a surrogate, and she questioned the society that, who are you to decide whether I need a husband to produce a child? And the same with the other show, which is on Sub TV, and which is about these 2 young girls in UP who handled their father's shop as barbers and paid for his illness. And this was a very, very regressive society where they picked up the scissors and started cutting hair, and it was an entirely male-dominated world. So I picked up that story and we made it into a show, and it still runs on television. And I'm also writing a 3rd film, which is again about women emancipation and what we call liberation. So I think we have to do this every day in our life. It's not that it is on one day or in this seminar or when I'm called on a platform to give a speech. I think we have to push the envelope every day. And as Preeta said, and I really, really agree with this, that we should not carry this motherhood thing as a badge around our neck, because until we are not ready to give up the cushioning which the word women and mother brings to us, I think even males are not going to accept us as just entrepreneurs. So I think we have to first give up this cushioning which we feel, oh, extra time, can we go home early? Like someone called me on a seminar and said, let me introduce mompreneur Shabia Walia. And I said, please don't say mompreneur, just say entrepreneur, because my being a mom is not an excuse for me to work only 4 hours a day. I don't take a siesta in the afternoon just because I'm a mother. You don't ask a man, are you a dad, when you interview that person? Or you don't ask a man that, do you run your business while looking after your child? I'm sure he does. So why are you giving me this extra, pedestal? I mean, I had sex and I had a baby, as simple as that. There is no glorifying that. There is no, carrying it on my forehead as a mantle. I don't want that. I don't want any extra cushioning, but I also don't want any extra battering because I'm a woman. And yeah, and that's the spirit I have carried. I'm 47 today, and that's all I teach my daughter, that whatever life throws at you, be it entrepreneurship, be it your job, be it a bad boss, be it a bad day, be it a bad hair day, whatever it is, there is a solution to it. If you ask the question, why not change it? And that's pretty much been my journey. I haven't prepared a presentation because I think my power lies in my words, and it would be unfair to put it on screen when I think my words have a better impact. So if you want to see our products and reach out to me, our website is www.wildearth.in, and that's pretty much my 47 years in less than 8 minutes.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful session. Since we're running short on time, I would request my friend Anveshan to carry forward the session and invite the next guest to the panel.
Thank you so much, Lalit. We are honored to have Miss Amrai Dua with us today. She has been working towards establishing her art studio in South Delhi. Her journey as an artist who chose to start her business in artwork makes her story that much absorbing. She uses art to speak about sexuality, women, and activism while she weaves her philosophy into her business. On behalf of the EV department, I welcome you to address the students, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I think Shabia was so quick with words. I'm just trying to grasp all of it. But a very warm welcome to all of you. I hope you all are keeping safe. I'm an artist, I'm a painter, I'm an illustrator, and I'm an observer. That's how I define myself, because I love to observe people, nature, be it birds or animals or plants, or just human emotions, because I personally believe that every human has animal instincts. So we can, just act like a cat sometimes, or be, we can just, wear these traits as and when required, and according to the emotions that we are feeling, we just, we just wear that aura and then just present ourselves on a plate, right? So I come from a very small town in India that's called Dehradun, and I have a family of say 100 people who live in the same colony. Okay, so there are like 100 birthdays every year, and everybody expected me to draw something, because I was this little child in the family who used to roam around in the street, acting like a tomboy and being everybody's favorite. And I got this innate, this thing of making people happy, because I could never see people weeping, crying, talking about their sad family lives. So I was always there to cheer them up. And I always came up with this idea of making some nice comical scenes in the family, and used to mimic all these people in my life. And gradually, as I grew up, I just realized that I got a good hand, and I could draw expressions, emotions, I could feel people's emotions, and I could just put it down on a piece of paper and a canvas later on. And then this whole process of experimenting with colors and finding my own energy in that on that palette, and I could just explore my own world of wilderness. And that is how I just started calling myself an artist. And then, when I graduated from school, I was this person who managed to score a 92%. And it used to be a very good thing 10 years ago that, oh, you're scoring 90 number, we can go to Delhi University and could, do something in commerce, economics background. And I just said, but I still want to be an artist. So everybody in my family was like, why do you want to be an artist who won't be able to earn much? Don't do that, because they just end up wearing a jhola or a kolhapuri chappal, and they're always struggling. Peter, you have to do something really nice, make a name, create a legacy. I said, yes, I will create legacy. Don't worry about that. Just let me follow my dream. So then they were just, turning that Nelson's eye towards what I want to do in my life. And then I went to Delhi, and I just, started studying in one of India's best fine arts school. And then, with time, I started honing my skills, and I got to, meet people who were driving my Mercedes Benz. Also, at the same time, there were people in my college who were working as a security guard in an ATM. So, I saw the best and the worst of both the worlds. They were like really unwealthy people, and they were like that corrupt class. And, I could just see that in India, there's so much of diversity. There's so much was exposed to everything, okay, everything good and bad. And that is when I started, creating my own visual language, and, I came up with my own style. It took quite some time, and later, I just started exploring with all of these mediums, and I'm like this. Can you please mute, Shivani, please?
Shivani, please mute yourself.
Yeah. And then I was this person who was always found in art museums, and always immerse myself in art history, visual history. I used to travel around. So later what happened, I started freelancing in college, and I just ignored all my college assignments, and I started earning money. But when you get a first salary or your first stipend, there's this sense of empowerment that you feel that I can make money on my own. This time I'm not going to take pocket money from my parents. That first salary, be it as small as a chocolate cake, that is so rewarding. So then I started exploring this field. And like in Hindi they say that शेर के मुंह में खून लग जाता है तो वो बहुत ज़्यादा उसी की चीज़ के पीछे पड़ जाता है. If I translate it into English, if a lion gets a little bit of blood on his teeth, he knows the taste of it, so he goes mad, so he becomes a man-eater. So in a similar way, I just got this thing that, I can, through my art, sell and make a good living. But otherwise, if you look at the society, especially the male-dominant society, they don't like to see a woman doing so well in the art industry, especially when you see that your history of art is littered with names of great men like Leonardo, Pablo Picasso, M. Raza, Souza, Vincent, Van Gogh. So in India, it was very difficult to name a few female artists also, like Amrita Shergill, who is no more, or in the Western world also, people know about Frida Kahlo, but they wouldn't know about other female artists like Elizabethson. So that is the difference. And I just thought to myself that why is it so? Why are men painters given that much of importance, and why not men? So that is when I started, building up and working towards my career in the field of art like a lady entrepreneur. And I very proudly say that I am the lady entrepreneur. Why? Because all the people who are working in my team are mostly men. So I am the boss and they are listening to my instructions. And I am actually making them the breadwinner of their family. And they do have that level of respect for me, because it is not easy to be a lady entrepreneur, especially when you are, striking a balance between being good and also getting the work done, and also maintaining a very nice client relationship. Because when you're painting, especially, or when you're doing big mural projects, or you are getting in touch with interior designers or architects and working on big projects where they need a lot of artwork, right? So within a month's time, for example, you have to deliver 40 to 50 paintings. Or when they say that you have to paint a whole building, it's a big ass painting. So there's so many things. You have to stand on the scaffolding, you have to wear helmets and ropes, and then you have to paint and get down, see that from a far off distance how the painting is looking like. So it should be symmetrical. And I'm just finding myself screaming on top of my voice just to get things right. And those are men who are listening to me. So that whole energy, that whole thing just drives me crazy and always kicks me to do more, to pursue more, to even encourage people in my team, so that they just feel that this is what we live for. The sheer happiness, pure joy, innocence which lies in creating something out of nothing. So with the power of brush, like Shabia said, that this is my tool and pen is my tool, and this is my sword basically. So for me, a brush, it is everything. It is writing my destiny. It is actually creating my legacy, which I'm going to transfer to the good kids who will come in my family. But otherwise, it's being an entrepreneur. I think you should just break the traditional career paths, the notions that people have, that are you going to do something good? Are you going to be successful? Are you going to earn something? So money should be secondary. First, you need to hone your skills. If you're good at your skills, if you know that you're talented, and if every day you're doing something to achieve more, then money will obviously follow you. Success will follow you. People will come and give you awards. They'll give you certificates. They will be after your life to, talk about your experience, right? But you don't have to think about these things. They're all secondary. First, you have to think about yourself, your own worth. You have to be confident. You should be hardworking. You should not think about what will happen ifs and buts not, but nots are not allowed, right? You have to be the risk taker. And initially, you don't have nothing to lose. Okay, if you're even failing, that's just wonderful, because failures have so much to teach. I think this is my favorite quote, which is like my life mantra, that the biggest enemy of future success is your past success. So don't think that what we have done in our past is like, now I'm going to live a good life and this is the end of the world. No, that's not the case. You always have to keep calling yourself a loser, then only you can be a better version of yourself. And obviously, I am this person who likes to illustrate all the daily things, small little things which give you happiness. And that's what pandemic has also taught us. Eventually, staying with the family, sharing good words with your near and dear ones, and spending that quality time with yourself also matters the most. Because when you'll die, they'll just remember you for good 13 days. You'll be gone then. Their life will carry on. So you don't have to give yourself so much of importance that if I die, what will happen? No, you are just here for a few years and then you'll be gone. Okay. And if you really want to make history, if you want to be a game changer, please go ahead. But after a few years, you'll just be remembered for the next 3 generations. That's it. So, I came up with this latest project also on Instagram. I asked people to share.
Just sorry to interrupt, but I think we are running out of time. So if you could kindly find the...
All right. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so I will now hand it over to Aparna, who will now open the floor for the question answer session.
Can I before we do that, can I just say that we're now at the kind of the end time. I'm really happy to just continue to be on this call. So I know other people might have other things to do. So if people want to just leave the call, then that's absolutely fine. But hopefully most people will want to stay on the call and just listen to the questions that you are going to be asking. So hopefully our 3 presenters, Preeta, Shabia and Amrai, if you're able to just stay on the call for maybe another 15 minutes, that would just be really brilliant, just so that we can actually just ask some questions, because I know that there'll be lots of people just dying to ask you questions, if that's okay with everyone.
That will be great.
Brilliant, thank you.
Ma'am, I would like to take questions for Preeta ma'am first. The first question is, how are you planning to make Wear Equal reach women staying in remote parts of the country? Preeta ma'am.
Yes, thank you for the question. That's a question that I have been asked quite a lot of times, and that's a question that I actually ask my own self, because like Shabia said, we sometimes people say that you're mad, and there is a streak of madness in all entrepreneurs, and this is something that is definitely very, very common that you would see. And so I had this vision of bringing underwears right to the doorstep of the women in the villages, something that they do not get at all in their surroundings. Now, the problem is that how do we do it? Because each village in India, each village has its own set of cultures and languages and dialects. India is a huge, vast country. Where do you start? Where do you begin? Where do you end? How do you plan? So it's a complicated problem, and it has to be simplified. So I simplified it. I made the problem of access, I divided into 3 kinds of access. So if a woman can't find, can't procure an underwear because of her financial constraints, it can be termed as economic access. There are women who might have the money, but they cannot buy it because they are living in a very, very remote part, and they have to travel all the way to the city and, change a number of transports, this and that. So they are having a physical barrier, basically. So that's something I termed as physical access. And then there is social access, where you might have the money. You're in a village, but not all villagers are supposed to be, not all of them live below the poverty line. I mean, a lot of them are landed and they have a lot of money, they have a lot of farms and everything. But if you're, say, a bride in a family, and then, you have the money, you have the physical proximity to shops, but then, there is some social taboo or some barrier or some myth, or just a kind of the social structure is such that you can't even step out from your house to buy an underwear, something as simple as that. That's called the social access. So yeah, so I divided it in the market, the rural market, into these three forms. And I started with the places which are remote. So right now what I'm doing is I am through something like the depot program, where I'm going to be manufacturing the underwear over here, and I'm going to be passing it on to depots, which are women themselves in the village, who can distribute the underwears in the village. They can earn something, something from that sale as well. So they also make a commission, and they are able to also, bring the underwears right to the doorstep of the women who are residing in the village. That's my model. That's the depot model. We have not started doing that already. We are still in the process of building a risk-free model for that. But this is the plan. This is how I'm going to be doing it in the future.
Before Nishant actually puts his question, we have another question for Shabia ma'am. It is, what would be some tips for women from economically weaker section of the society who cannot make huge investment, they can make entrepreneurial ventures? Shabia ma'am?
So you will be surprised to know that my first investment in my company was 1,000 rupees. And there are a lot of businesses you can start without huge investments, without infrastructure. And as I said, I just learned everything I learned on Pinterest, which you can have on your mobile. You can research. Google is at your fingertips. I learned how to make soaps. I learned how to make body butters. I learned everything on the net, practiced it in my microwave oven and the mixer grinder. And I then scaled it once it started making profit. So the first day, as I said, I just spent some 1,000 rupees on some jars and the ingredients I needed. And out of that, I made 4,000 the next day. Then that 4,000 I reinvested back in my business, and I came back with 8,000 the next day. That's how I have sustained my business till date. We have, though I have, in fact, yesterday we've been approached for a funding opportunity, but till date we haven't taken any funding because we didn't require it. Because and women are very good at this, right? Saving money, putting it in sugar jars and hiding it from your husband and saving it for a rainy day. We're very good at this. And yet I don't know why women say that, oh, I'm very bad at budgeting. Indian women are brilliant at budgeting, I feel. They can even make a 10 rupee last for several days without their husband knowing about it. And then women come and tell me that they're bad at budgeting. And I'm like, how? You had the money when even your husband didn't have it. So how do you not know budgeting? And this is how, my investment was 1,000 rupees. And so you can start a business without investment. But otherwise, if you don't have any money, then friends and family can become good investors for you. You can always, promise them some returns when your business does well. You can promise them some extra money when you're returning that. But actually, it's not about the money. It is not about the money. It is not about the resources. It is not about the ingredients. It is all the fire in you. It is the spirit in you. As you say, if you want to do it, then the universe will send all this to you. How else do you explain that there must be millions of entrepreneurs in India? How did only Amira, Preeta, and I land on this opportunity? It's as simple as that. I tell myself there's a miracle happening every day. How does it happen? I talk to Priyanshi about something else, And then we got onto this call, and then she, brought me here. So if you're looking for that miracle, if you're always in the watch out, the miracles will happen. So so the question is only why not the money or the resources or anything else.
Nishant has a question in the chat box. Moving away from the textbook questions, what message do you have for freshers, such as us, who will venture into different industries with little or no experience? So, because we are short on time, any three of the star speakers can come forward and talk about it.
Preeta, you want to go first? And then we can add.
Maybe Amrai can speak because she's not spoken.
So see, don't consider yourself as a fresher. And if you're saying that you're a fresher, then for life be a fresher, because it will always give that freshness to your soul. Okay. So don't be scared that, I'm a fresher, what's going to happen? Be that happy, be that person who's going to grab that opportunity and be like, yes, I'm the fresher. I'm going to bring some new drama to this whole industry. So be that drummer. Okay. Play with the situation, play with the opportunity, grab it, make the best out of it. And just be confident that you're going to learn things, and in return you're going to add value to that institution or to that brand itself. So that's my suggestion, that just do it with a bang, do it with full passion, and be mad about it. That's it. Don't be scared to be a fresher.
I think I'll add to that. What can be better than calling yourself a fresher? I think that itself tells you that there is a fresh start. There is a lifetime in front of you. I think youth is the biggest drug you can have. Like, I wish I was young again, because, at that time you felt you could conquer the world, beat up all the men and make them believe that women can do something. And, it's a whole new high. You don't need anything when you're a fresher. And being a fresher always helps because you have no liabilities. You can fail a million times. You don't have families to run. It's you, only you. And when you're a fresher, I think the failures, so, fail early, learn early. So if you fail early, you start early, you fail early, all your experiences, by the time you turn 35, 36, I think you will have a million experiences, and which will only enrich your journey further. So I think there's no better term than calling yourself a fresher. Don't be afraid of that. You make it your strength.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. We will have one last question addressed to Amrai, ma'am. The question is, how do you ensure that your work is respectful of the representation of people belonging to the LGBT community?
Okay. So I was an illustrator. I was working with First Post for 3 years, and every week I used to illustrate for the LGBTQ column. And I was new to this whole idea because I didn't know how to, put the whole body language across in such a way that, doesn't, put people off, right? So earlier days when I started illustrating, I was, just learning. That time I was a fresher, right? So I was just open to criticism as well, because there were people who were viewing the articles and the artwork, and they got back and messaged me on Instagram saying that, hey, this is very subjective. You can't just, draw these strap noodles and you're just putting it on a girl's body. Why are you putting the waxed legs on a guy's body? We have hair as well, right? So they have different categories. So, with interaction, with, reading and understanding how this community feels, that is how I started, putting these thoughts and these prepare this body language on a piece of paper and then putting it across on social media. Earlier it was a little tricky because I was just new to this whole world. But later with time, obviously, I understood how this whole thing works. And there were certain occasions where I, drew certain things which Instagram later banned. And, again, social media, it just helps you reach organic audience. It just entertains all kinds of people from different countries, different belonging to different races and religion. And as we know, in India, Hindu-Muslim fight, it's just forever. So you get a lot of criticism also. But the best thing is that you have to take criticism in a very nice, productive way so that you are always learning to grow as an individual. And of course, an artist does have that independence, there's just that freedom to express ourselves just the way we think. But yes, if you put it on social media, there are certain restrictions, guidelines that you've got to follow. So yes, it was a learning experience. It was a little difficult towards the beginning, but then I just realized that there's a path to it. Yeah.
Thank you to all the three speakers. We have actually now come to the end of the program of the seminar. I would first like to thank all the three star speakers. One is Preeta ma'am, Shabia ma'am, and Amrai ma'am for their indeed educative thoughts and experiential learnings. Now, I would also like to thank Surbhi ma'am and the entire faculty of IIMC for giving us this opportunity to listen to you guys and have your and just know about how women entrepreneurs have raised over the years. And also, of course, Karen ma'am and Geeta ma'am for their gracious presence, and the collaboration between Newcastle University and IIMC has been of extreme educative to us. So I now would like to request Karen ma'am to give a word of thanks, and then we shall conclude the program.
Thanks, Aparna. Yes, can I just kind of close to say this has been really brilliant. It's the first kind of collaboration that we've had, that Newcastle's had with IIMC. I think that hopefully it won't be the last. Thank you so much to Amrai, kind of Preeta and Shabia. I think that in your different ways, you've been really inspiring with your enthusiasm, your infectiousness. The ideas of being brave, I think is just, is something. Be brave, be confident, but have an idea that you pursue. I think that each of the three speakers have just given us some really good ideas, inspirational ideas of how to move forward. And I mean, I totally get, just very briefly, I totally understand the point about not being labeled a woman something. I totally get that. And when we are in that happy place where we don't have to prefix entrepreneur or politician or judge with the word woman, we will be in that perfect space. But for now, there's a community of women who are pushing forward. And so I think that there are personally benefits to be part of a woman-focused something, a woman-focused collective, as well as being part of the broader humanity. But anyway, thank you so much. Can I also just, as I put in the chat, can I say thank you to my colleague Priyanshi Sharma, who's also on the call, who initially made contact with our three brilliant presenters, but also a number of other women as part of this kind of project. So thank you, Priyanshi, for actually making this happen. Thank you for Surbhi and Geeta and all the brilliant students who've just done a really kind of phenomenal job. So thank you very much. I'm going to close it now. This is obviously, you see that this has been recorded. If anyone is interested in getting hold of the recording, then let me know, and I'm very happy to send it to you. I think it'll be probably in half an hour's time or something. But thank you all again. Thank you for giving us this time. Keep safe. We hear really horrible news from India, on this side of the world, but we also have our own issues with the Delta variant and everything else that's going on. But it's great that you're all here. I hope that you're safe and well, that your families are safe and well, and maybe our paths will cross again at some point in the future. But again, thank you very much. I'm going to close the meeting. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.